Recording.
Okay, thank you very much, Josh. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can people see the Daf Gemara I shared on the screen?
Yes.
Is that good? Okay, is it the whole thing or is it not the whole thing? I can't see because I can only see what's on my screen. Okay, fine. So we are on Gimel on the base in Rosh Hashana, just to bring everyone up to speed. A lot has happened since we last learned. Again, the Mishnah spoke about the different types of Rosh Hashanah, one of them being Lemelachim, that the first of Nisan is the new year for the counting of kings. And we said how that is true for Jewish kings, that they would count the years of their dynasties starting in Rosh Hashanah. And we said that was important for Shtaros, for the matter of dating their documentation. And then the Gemara in our daf on Gimel Amud Beis, on Gimel Amud Aleph, even at the bottom of Gimel Amud Aleph, Rav Chisda taught that that's true for Jewish kings, that Jewish kings, it's from the first of Nisan, but for non-Jewish kings, the year that they're counting is from the first day of Tishrei, what we call Rosh Hashanah, and we discussed why there might be that discrepancy, why that might be the case. That is a difference between Jewish kings and non-Jewish kings. We've done that a few times. And then we proved the fact that non-Jewish kings count from Tishrei, from the verses in Nehemiah. How Nehemiah had a report from Hanani, from one of the leaders in the sort of vassal state in Israel at the time of the end of the Babylonian exile, reporting back to Nehemiah, who was a high officer in the palace of the Persian emperor, Babylonian emperor, and he was telling him how bad the things were in Israel, and that was in the month of Kislev, at the end of the year. We say it's in the 20th year, and then we're told that in the Nisan of the 20th year, a few months later, Nehemiah goes and reports this to the king Artaxerxes, who he said is Daryaves, is Koresh. And so we see from there that if Kislev is the 20th year and Nisan is the 20th year, so therefore clearly the change of years doesn't happen in Nisan, it happens in Tishrei. Then the Gemara had a question based on this assumption that Daryaves was counting from like a non-Jewish king from Tishrei. These two verses that seem to contradict that. We have something that tells us it was in the third year, in the sixth year in the month of Av, and then we have something which tells us it was in the sixth year in the month of Tishrei. So if it changes at Tishrei, surely there should have been a change of year. And we have another question. So the Gemara answers basically in the bottom of Gimel on the base here. My cursor. Do you see my cursor? Amar Yitzchak. Can people see my cursor? Put your thumbs up. Yeah. Amar Yitzchak lo kasha. So there's another question. The fact that we have verses that tell us that for the reign of Daryaves, we counted from Nisan, like a Jewish king, and not Tishrei, like a non-Jewish king. And then we have other verses we seem to prove that we count for him like a non-Jewish king from Tishrei. That's because within himself, he himself was considered to be both like a Jewish king and not like a Jewish king in different stages in his rulership. What is that? Says the Gemara, whilst he was a good king for the Jews, he was a noble, righteous king. He had the status, they counted for him like a Jewish king. The Achash Shehichmetz, once he became Chometz, meaning this is very, I guess, apropos for the time of year we're in. Chometz isn't intrinsically non-kosher food. It's not like, treif, it's not like pig or other non-kosher food, which is always non-kosher. Chometz, 358 days a year, it's okay, or 357 if you're in Chutz La'aretz, and 7 or 8 days a year is not okay. Meaning, at some point, it's very nice. It's bread. We make hamotzi on it. It's part of we do mitzvahs with it. And then at a certain point in the year, if you just leave that same dough too long, it becomes chametz, becomes a very serious. It's the same thing. At some point in his life, he was very positive. Shehichmetz, he became negative. He became a negative king for the Jews, and therefore he was relegated, so to speak, to be counted like non-Jewish kings, and his counting was from Tishrei. So Maskiv, that's what we got up to last time. Maskiv la Rav Kahana. So Rav Kahana asks the question, Umi hichmitz. Is it really true that Koresh, Dayoves, Atachshasta, we say it's all the same person, that he really, quote unquote, went off, that he really became a bad king, a negative king for the Jews? Next stuff, V'hakasiv. Let's just get to the next stuff. Next Amud. Just changing it on the screen for everyone. Yeah. So how do I know? Meaning Gemara says, is it really true he became a bad king? The Gemara says, we have a verse, and this verse is in Ezra. And what is it that you require? Is it b'nei bakar, v'enim, kavasim, different types of animals? That you want to bring it to the Lord your God. Chantin melech chama umashach k'mama kahanya devi Yerushalayim lehu misyoev lahem yom v'yom dai lo shalom alo. Okay, dai shalom lo dai shalom. Where is it? Dai lo shalu. Okay, the verse basically means, it's in Aramaic, but in other words, basically the king was sending to Ezra and he was saying, whatever you need for sacrifices on the temple, whether it be cows or oxen or sheep, or whether it be grain and salt or wine and oil for the libations and the mincha offering, he's saying, you bring it, I'll supply it, you'll have enough for the Kohanim to bring, it'll be given to you each and every day, will be enough provided by the king. So we see here, already once the temple is being built, that we're not going to go into, it's very complicated. The Mefarshim here deal with what these verses are a little bit being quoted from the wrong places, meaning it's being quoted, the Mefarshim, do ask the question, Tosfos here on the side, ask the question, that this is actually a verse which is quoted from way earlier. Remember, there's two Koreshes, two Dayoveses, one before Achashverosh, one after Achashverosh. This is possibly was sent to Ezra already by the first Dayoves, and we're talking about the second Dayoves, and they answer up in various different ways, possibly that it's the same thing applied, meaning if the first king promised this, the later king continued to promise this. Maybe Achashverosh in the middle renegades on that, he went back on that, he was the one who stopped the building, but once his son restarted the building in Israel, clearly he would have continued this practice. So therefore we see he's a good king. What does it mean he isn't a good king? So Amar le Rebbe Yitzchak, so Rebbe Yitzchak replied, Rebbe, some don't have that word Rebbe metunach. The answer is in your hand, the answer is right in front of you, because the next verse says, why am I providing you with all these karbanot, with all these sacrifices, all the animals and all the various materials and foods that you need to sacrifice on the altar, in order that you will bring them as sweet offerings to the God in heaven, that in order that you'll pray to God for the success of my monarchy, my kingdom, uvenohi, and for my children. So you see, he's got ulterior motives. Yes, he's providing, a stipend, he's providing all that they needed for the sacrifices in the temple, but he's not doing it with the right motives, he's not doing it altruistically, he's doing it in order that they pray for him, he's doing it in order that it will work out well for his son, it will be a zechus, it will be a merit, it will be for the good of his family. The Gemara asked the question, the Gemara says, wait a minute, who says that is a negative thing? For somebody to do a mitzvah, specifically here, provides something and say it should be on the condition, it should be as a merit for my family or for something else, is that lav ma'al yusah? It's not a good thing. V'hatanya, have we not learned? There's a Gemara Pesachim in Baba Basra. Ha'omer says azul, it's stock up. Someone who says, I'm giving this money for charity, b'shvil shayichyu b'ni, in order that my son should live, i.e., again, should be a merit that my son should live, or my family members should be well, in order through it I will merit for the world to come. This is not just okay. The Gemara seems to present such a person, such a person is a completely righteous person. So Gemara says, Lo kasha, that's not a question. Meaning, this king, Dayaves, Koresh, is sending Karbana in order for the merit of his family, and we say that shows, that signifies he's not a great king. Here we're saying if a person sends charity, gives charity in order for an ulterior motive to think, for the well-being of his family, that is a good thing. He's a tzaddik omer. So how do you square these things up? Depends who is stipulating this, who is giving and donating on condition, whether it's a Jew or whether it's a non-Jew. So what does that exactly mean? Why should there be a distinction between a Jew and a non-Jew? So some of the commentators explain that a non-Jew is expecting to get the reward, meaning there's a certain expectation that they'll see the reward, and not only will they see the reward, they'll see the reward in this world. Whereas a Jew, when he's saying, I'm giving on condition that it should be for the well-being or to the goodness, we see even the Gemara brings the example, it's not that I will benefit and I'm looking and waiting and I'm expecting to get a reward and to reap the benefits in this world, and therefore if I don't, it's gonna rattle and it's gonna undermine my belief in God and my belief in this promise. But really, we're talking about someone who says, I'm doing a mitzvah, I'm looking towards getting reward in the world to come. Or perhaps more subtly, when it says, shayichyu beni, they're doing it for the world. I'm giving this charity, shayichyu beni, that my son, my children should live. What does it mean? It doesn't mean just to live physically. I want it that they can, in order to serve God, that they can live as productive and meaningful Jews. Whereas perhaps someone without those motives, who's not doing it for religious or spiritual purposes, perhaps then that would lose that potency. Generally, the Gemara then in Pesachim discusses, and the commentators here discuss, the question is, we have the Mishnah in Avos, which tells us, don't be like servants, don't be like slaves that serve the master in order to receive a reward. So we generally say one shouldn't do Torah and mitzvahs, one shouldn't observe the mitzvahs in expectation of a reward, do it for the purpose of the reward. Our Torah and our mitzvahs should be what's called lishma. Hold on 1 second, please. Later what? Okay, beautiful. Okay, Daddy, just a bit busy. Sorry. I guess everyone's going to have, there was a famous video that went around, that guy who was on the news and he had his kids scrolling in a few years ago. I think everyone's going to have that. By the way, I was going to say, please, if this is not supposed to be a lecture, this is supposed to be a share interactive. Please unmute your mics and ask questions and make comments like we usually do. So we usually say, don't be people who serve God in order to receive a reward. We do it for lishma, even though that's the Gemara in Pesachim, which says, a person should do mitzvahs shelo lishma, even for the wrong reasons, because mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma, because if you do it for the wrong reasons, hopefully eventually you'll come to do it for the right reasons. So what is the difference here? So Rashi already says here, someone who gives charity and says it's for the purpose of the well-being of my children or the world to come, the curse you can follow, meaning if you're regular to do so. Meaning it's not like a skula type of thing. It's not like a one-off, I need a fix. I'm in a desperate situation. My child's ill. I need something. I'm going to give charity for that purpose. No, you always give charity. You always do that mitzvah anyway. It's part of who you are. It's part of your nature. But you're doing it and you're hoping, you believe in the potency, you believe in the power of the mitzvahs, that it does have a positive effect, that it does hold the reward within it. And therefore, it's not your mitzvah observance is dependent now on the outcome, on this specific need you have. But rather, you always do the mitzvahs, and part and parcel of doing the mitzvahs, you believe that, packaged up into that is going to bring you good things, it's going to be for your benefit. That is okay. Rashi here says again the answer we mentioned before. We saw the things between a Jew and a non-Jew. He's doing it for the right reasons. Ultimately, his purpose is to serve God, even if he's saying, I want a specific outcome. Even if he has bad experiences in his life, he doesn't end up having exactly the outcome he wants. Doesn't lead him to make an accusation against God. Rather, hang his problems, his pain on his own sins. Perhaps a non-Jew who doesn't have the same mindset, if he doesn't get the outcome he's looking for, he will see this badly. Netziv, right? So the Ramban writes, again, it's a distinction between immediate gratification and delayed gratification. Meaning, someone who says, I'm giving charity, I'm doing this good deed in order, my children should be well, and he's expecting it today, that would be a problem. If someone's saying it's just in the long run, that this good deed, again, as we said, should have a long time benefit, that would be okay. Other Acharonim explain the difference between tzedakah and other mitzvahs. Generally, we say mitzvahs shouldn't be done, that's a mission of us. You shouldn't be like a servant who serves the master in order to receive a reward. Says the Acharonim, it's the Be'ei Yaakov, that is a difference between mitzvahs that have a positive impact in this world, meaning tzedakah. I give charity. In a way, the motive is a little bit irrelevant. Obviously, you want to have the right motives and do it with the right intention. But what's important about those mitzvahs is the outcome. That my money, my resources is now shared with other people. That the person who needs the charity the recipient is actually benefiting from it. Or the good deed, the kindness, whatever it may be. In those areas, then we say it's okay to have an ulterior motive, to say I want to get something. It doesn't totally undermine the mitzvah. However, the mitzvahs which are between us and God, bin adam lamakom, then perhaps having an ulterior motive, because that it's about the relationships, about the quality of the intent, about the quality of the motive and the relationship aspect of it, and therefore perhaps having an ulterior motive could undermine it. Then the Tziv brings a proof, and it's actually the Haftorah from Shabbos Hagadol. Shabbos Hagadol, God says in the last chapter of Malachi, test me with what? With your Maisa. If you'll give Maisa, test God that and say, I'm giving the tithings, you should make me rich and you should provide for me and sustain me in return. And that is actually something which is legitimate. Obviously, generally we say you can't test God. God, I'll do this, you do this for me. That for me is not a prid co type of arrangement. When it comes to Maaseh, the tithings, we say that is allowed. And Siv says possibly that's extended to tzedakah as well. When it gives when giving to charity, that's one exception. We're allowed to make it, so to speak, make a deal with God that he'll do what we're asking him to do in reward in response to us doing the mitzvah. Okay, so that's we answered that distinction. That even though it's okay to give money and to donate, especially karbonos, you see this is karbonos, and it offers perhaps a distinction between maaser and tzedakah. And maaser is the tithe that go to the kohanim, those who serve in the Beit HaMikdash, and there's a special Netziv has generally this approach that the Beit HaMikdash, the service in the Beit HaMikdash was there to provide parnasa, to provide sustenance for the Jewish people, and therefore even more so when it comes to giving money and providing karbonis in the Beit HaMikdash, one would say that that's okay to ask and to expect a sustenance and a reward for it. Nonetheless, the Gemara makes a distinction between a Jew and a non-Jew, probably based on a mindset type of approach. Nonetheless, the Gemara continues. The Gemara says, no, I've got another proof, I've got another way to show that Koresh, even though at one point he may have been a worthy king, a good king for the Jews, he became sort of leavened, he became a negative figure for the Jewish people. The verse tells us, so basically he says, I'm going to provide for you when you're building the Beit HaMikdash, but I'm going to provide for you in the walls of the Beit HaMikdash 3 rows of stone and 1 row of wood. So Lomole David Hachi. So why did he do this? Why was it? And it's a bit, some say it's a bit paternalistic. He's telling them, I'm going to donate the materials to build the Beit HaMikdash, and then he's already stipulating how they should build it. Maybe he should just donate, free donation, no strings attached. Nonetheless, he's telling them, I'm going to provide for you enough stone for 3/4 of the wall, or 3 rows of the wall, and 1 row, 1/4 is going to be wood. So why did he do this? Sava, he thought, if the Jews rebel against me, again, remember, there wasn't full sovereignty. The truth is, very few times during the Second Temple era was there full sovereignty. At the beginning, we were sort of a vassal. We were a satellite state of the Babylonian Persian Empire, then later of the Greek Empire, then later of the Roman Empire. There weren't really many Jewish kings who were really autonomous. So he was saying, the Jews are giving them a sort of a element of sovereignty, but if they were to rebel against me, I'll simply have a way to burn down their temple. I have a way to put down the insurgency. I will simply set light to the wooden layer of the walls, and that obviously will take the whole building down. So it wasn't pure motives. We see he wasn't such a good king. He wasn't such a benevolent king. He had already set up a get out of jail. He set up a way to take back the Beit HaMikdash, to destroy the Beit HaMikdash if the Jewish people were going to undermine him. The Gemara says, Shlomo HaMelech didn't do the same. Yeah. Mike?
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, there were many kings who perhaps became chometz, who were kings of Judea. But we didn't say that you changed when the shtar was done for them. So why should it be so different? Either you're a Jewish king and it's from Nisan, or you're a non-Jewish king. But to say that this one was became chometz, but we don't say that about anybody else.
Right, interesting. It could be, again, a Jewish king is a Jewish king. You're right, he's a bad Jewish king, he's a Jewish king intrinsically. A non-Jewish king, he was given, I guess, the accolade. He was given, again, the Mefarshim here discussed a little bit, and we discussed this, again, when we had that last live share. When exactly are we talking about? Was it at the time they decided they counted this, or this when the Tanakh wrote the history, when the Tanakh dated everything, right? Oh, in retrospect, they did this. Meaning, in retrospect, when Ezra and Nehemiah and these books, Haggai, they wrote the books down, they said, you know what, at some point, Koresh was a great king, and we wanted to give him that sort of, we want to record for him in our Tanakh, the accolade. How are we going to record that accolade? We will date him. We will count his monarchy as we count Jewish monarchies. And then at that moment in time when he switches, at that time they said, well, after this point, he wasn't such a good king. And therefore he's going to revert back to being counted like so does it actually mean in the stories at the time? I'm unclear. Probably makes more sense in the recording, in the canonization, in the writing of these books. That's how, again, a technique, a very subtle technique as well, to sort of, within the dating, within how we dated these kings, to sort of give a sense of where they were held and how they were held and how they were perceived. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense, because otherwise, a shtar written between two Jewish people and a shtar effectively written between the Jewish and non-Jewish people on the same day could have two different dates, and it would be very complicated. So one presumes that for any trading, they would have to use what was the current, like we do, the current date.
No, so obviously it would be in the country you're in. So if you're in the sovereign of Israel at the state where the king is a Jewish king, everyone writes according to the king of that land. And if you live in the Chutz, you're trading in Chutz, and you in Babylonia, it's according to the king of that land. Yeah, I don't think how much international signing online documentation they had back then. And now we do. Okay. So Gemara says, the king Shlomo, when he built the temple, did he not do exactly the same thing? Yeah, we write in Melachim Aleph, Kings 1, in chapter 6, which describes the building of the temple. He built 3 layers of hewn stone and a layer of wood, of cut wood. So again, the same thing. So how can we criticize Koresh that he stipulated that he wanted them to build the temple with 3 layers of stone and 1 layer of wood because he's going to burn it down? King Shlomo, a Jewish king, one of the greatest Jewish kings, building the temple the first time, he did the same thing. Gemara gives a few different answers. Shlomo Avid Milamala. King Shlomo, the wooden layer was on top. So if you burn down the wooden layer, it's not going to destroy the whole building, the whole structure. Ihu Avid Milamata. Koresh did the wooden one at the bottom. You burn down the wooden one, you destroy the foundational one, the whole rest of it will crumble. Shlomo Shokya Bevinyone. Shlomo sort of inserted the wood into the wall. He made it flat. He made it sort of consistent with the rest of the wall. Ihu Lo Shokya Bevinyone. the way Koresh wanted it to be built was that the wooden layer was sort of protruded a little bit, meaning it'd be easy for it to catch fire and that way undermine the whole structure. And finally, Shlomo Sadia Besida, when King Shlomo built it, he covered over the wood with a layer of cement. So he with a layer of coating to make it look nice. So therefore, even though there was wood there, it wasn't so easily able to be ignited and to be burned. Koresh, he put the wood and he left it raw, he left it plain, he didn't cover it over with a layer of cement. Rav Yosef Yitim Rav Yitzchak. So Rav Yosef, some say it was Rav Yitzchak. How do I know he wasn't such a good king? Another proof. Remember, last stuff we talked about the encounter or the conversation between Nehemiah, who wants to now go back to Israel to help out, to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash, to build up the walls, to make the community once again strong and glorious. He had that conversation. He's bringing the cup before the king, and he's doesn't look so good. And we, in passing, we mentioned the detail of he says the king said to me. These reports of conversation. And he throws in these extra words. He's describing the king is there and someone sitting next to him, the queen. So my shega, but what is a shega? Why not Malka? Amar Rabba Barlema, Mishmei de Rav. Rabba Barlema, in the name of Rav, says Kalbasa. What's a shega? It's a dog. So the dog was seated next to the king. So you see, the king had a dog next to him, meaning the king's consort wasn't a human, but it wasn't a queen, it was a dog, meaning there was some bestiality going on. And even for a non-Jew, that isn't allowed. The verses of Bereshit describing Adam and Eve, a man should be dovek, should attach himself to a woman, to be intimate with an animal, even someone who doesn't have a Jewish moral system, that is considered to be something depraved. So Gemara says, wait a minute. Is that really true that a shegel means a dog? The past tells us in Daniel, this is the verse. It's describing. Hold on one second. There's a verse here. It's describing. Hold on, we'll get it. So Daniel is saying to Belshazzar. So Daniel, the prophet, is talking to Belshazzar, the king of Persia. And he's sort of giving him Musa. He's giving him a talking down. What he says in so you've elevated yourself over the God of heaven. And the ma'anya, the vessels of his house you brought to you. You've ransacked the Beis HaMikdash. And you and your shegel, right? And you and your princes and your shegel and your pilegesh, your concubines, they're drinking wine. So we see the word shegel, shaglosa, is used, and it doesn't make sense to be a dog. As the Gemara says, shegel kalbasa. If a shagal is a dog, ha kalbasa bash mishtaya chamrahi, dogs drink wine. So Daniel is speaking down, is talking down to Belshazzar, that he's sort of acting so irreverently against the Jewish God. He ransacked the Beis HaMikdash, he brought the Canaan, and now he's just partying away, drinking wine. And not only him, the princes and his shegel also drink. So if it's a dog, it doesn't make sense. Gemara says, rather Gemara says, lo, kasha de malfalo v'shasya. No, we're talking about a dog who's accustomed to drinking wine. You've trained the dog. You can accustom a dog to anything. You've accustomed the dog to wine. So maybe a kalbasor can mean a dog. Wait, I've got another question. Does the word shegel really mean a dog? The pasuk says, the pasuk in Tehillim is describing those who learn Torah, and it says those who are scholars in Torah, the daughters of kings, either they will visit you or they will honor you. And the shegel, it makes sense to be a princess, will stand by you, the Kesem Ophir, adorned in beauty. Again, a description of the honor that's given to people who are scholars in Torah. The shegel kalbasa, and if a shegel means a dog, so what on earth is this the prophet here describing or reporting Mavasa, revealing to the Jewish people. It's not a great accolade that if you're a Torah scholar, dogs will sort of be adorned for you in jewelry, right? Again, here Navi saw it's a pasuk in Tehillim. What does it mean, Navi? The Tehillim, is it really Nevuah? Again, discussion in the postscript. I see the hours going late, so we're just trying to get to these two dots over here. Rather, what does it mean? It's a metaphor. Just as Torah in the reward, just as Torah is beloved to the Jewish people, like a dog is beloved to non-Jews, you'll reward your merit to a keser ofer, to this beautification, to these adornments. Again, the Netziv explains, just as the relationship people have with animals is somewhat unnatural, so too the relationship Jews have to Torah is unnatural. Some people say, just as people are willing to overcome all barriers in order for their animals, so too, even if it doesn't make sense, so too the Jews have overcome all barriers and all strife and tribulation in their efforts to maintain Torah. And that's the comparison. No, some say no. A shegel means a queen. Really, shegel means a queen. So I would read the pasuk above that we said, the king said to me, and the queen was sitting next to him. So shegel means a queen. Why do you think it means a dog? It's an exception. He just has this tradition that in this specific context, in all other contexts, it means a queen. And therefore, Belshazzar, it was his queen who was drinking wine. And the Jews, when we're comparing their love for Torah, comparing it to the love of a shegel, it doesn't mean the love of a dog. It means like a king loves his queen, or the queens are just as queens are adorned with beautification. So too you'll be glorified in that way. Just in this specific context, when it came to Koresh, this Amora of Rabbi Bar Lema had a specific teaching that in this reference it meant a dog. The Amay Korele Shegel. So why is it called a Shegel? Meaning, why would the verse there in the Chemia refer to the dog as a Shegel? Just say Kalbusah. If it meant a dog, write the word for dog. No. It's trying to tell us something. It's telling us that for this king, he loved this dog like one loves a queen. And therefore that denotes that he is hichmitz. He's no longer a morally upright person. He's became a depraved person. Alternatively, why does it call the dog a shegel? Because he seated the dog where you would seat the queen in the throne next to him. So finally, how do I know he actually went off? How do I know he wasn't such a good king in the end? From here, he said, I'm going to provide for the Beis Hamikdash. What's he going to provide? He says, up to a kikar, a certain amount, a volume. We had in this last week's Parsha, Pekude, when he described the volumes, the amounts that were donated to the Mishkan. So an amount of silver, 1,000 kikar of silver, v'ad chantin korin me'ah, v'ad chamor botin me'ah, v'ad botin moshach me'ah, malachti loy kosa. So everything he gives an amount for. I'm going to give you an amount for the wine for libations, and chantin for the produce, a certain amount. The only thing he gives unlimited is salt. So the Gemara says, interesting. Originally, we saw in the first verse, the top of the page, he says, whatever you need, animals and libations and flour, I'll give you whatever you need. And when it actually came to providing it, he's putting limits on it. So interestingly, that's already a sign that he's no longer such a good person. When we donate, no strings attached. Suddenly, there's all these limitations. There's a limit how much he's going to give. A powerful idea that that's enough to consider him to be not so good. Gemara says, maybe, you know what, originally he gave an unlimited amount because he didn't know how much would needed to be used. Meaning, originally he said, whatever you need. And now he knows how much they need, so he's promising that much they need. And why says, okay, maybe this answer isn't such a good answer. Maybe the fact he donated unlimitedly in the beginning, and now he's putting limitations, and not because somehow he's going back on his promise, somehow he's no longer as generous, somehow he's become stingy. But perhaps now they know how much they need, and if everything he's giving them more than they need. Maybe they only need 90 kikar, and he's giving them 100 kikar. We
Doesn't-
go back to the original answer. We had already 4 or 5 different approaches. How we know that Koresh was at one point a good king, and therefore we counted him like a Jewish king, and later on he became a less good king, and therefore we counted him like a non-Jewish king. Okay, this sugya is an interesting one. But regarding, we're going to get back to the longest, to the proper sugyas of the Mishnah of these different Rosh Hashanahs. Okay, I'm sorry, yeah, that wasn't so clear. I hadn't had a huge amount of time to prepare this one, but please God, we'll pick up next time as we go forward.
Shomrei, and
Yeah.
doesn't it also say in Ezra, I don't know, can't remember, that he then goes on to say, and you can basically use my name to tax people locally to get whatever else you need, which is equivalent of giving it in any case.
Which is a what?
I think in Ezra, it goes on to say that, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but that he'll give them permission to tax the locals in his name.
Interesting. Therefore, what?
Well, therefore, you know, this is what I'm giving you from my storehouses, and whatever else you need, you can tax in my name, which I'm going to give you.
Right. So it doesn't sound such so generous.
Well, I can't remember, but it's taking a quote without giving you the whole sugya, basically. I would have to go back and check, but
yeah, I haven't
looked inside.
I remember learning that these chapters with DJ when I was in Hasmonean. I don't know if anyone remembers. Dr. E was old school. We learned this for our BH GCSE. I haven't. It's been a while. I learned it again a few years later. It's been a while since I learned Ezra, so I don't recall exactly. Most people learning Ezra and Nehemiah from these pesukim. This sugya in Rosh Hashanah.
Excellent share. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Johnny, how are you?
Sorry I missed it. I had to take a call about Shakita.